On the Pfaff Ambition Essential, you'll notice that there's actually quite a few buttonholes that are programmed into this machine, starting at 07 in the Patterns menu and going to number 12. Notice that those numbers are black, which means we want to disengage the dual feed while we're doing it. Plus, the foot that you'll be using is the buttonhole foot that comes with the machine. Just a quick little note, this little bar where we're going to attach it to the machine, that's in the front. So this whole part is going to stick out the back side. But before I put it on, I'm going to show you how you can put a button in the foot. So you kind of hold at the front and push this little lever away from you and extends this little opening. When you take a button and put it in the opening, then go ahead and close it up so it will stay right in that area. So the machine will actually do a buttonhole perfect for this button size. So I love the fact that you can just get it. There's going to be a little lever we're going to pull down, and it's going to travel between these two little fingers. That's how it knows how big this button is back here. Also, a little tip when we're done is when you take this buttonhole foot off, if you can leave yourself a little button in this area, just store it in your accessory box. This way you'll be reminded, oh yeah, that's where my button goes, and that it goes out the back side, and for next time, because usually when we do buttonholes, it's kind of sporadic, not as often as you might think. So as I pick a buttonhole, I'm going to go ahead and start with 07, and we do want to be on the patterns screen. So 07, and it does pull up the auto stop for me, and a new little symbol comes down. This is that little lever. It's not your needle threader, it's the one right behind it. So when you pull that down, that little lever is what's indicating right here. So I'm going to push it back up. I am going to put it on, or pull that down after I put the foot on. So first thing, we're going to disengage the dual feed, or the IDT. We're going to attach the buttonhole foot. Remember, it attaches with everything kind of going out the back side of the machine. And now when I pull that little lever down, it comes down right in between those two white marks that I mentioned. Now, a little tip here, this buttonhole is going to stitch from this point away from us. So if I put it in here, I'm going to get my buttonhole at this point. So you're running to put your starts or your beginning stitches to, appropriate, and put your fabric in as needed here. Your manual will tell you to adjust your tension down. So if you wanted a little prettier buttonhole, bring this tension right up here down to 3 or 2.5. That will just make the top edges look really pretty. And all you need to do is really just step on the foot control. The buttonhole will stitch all by itself. If this little thread's getting in your way, you can always just trim it once you get started. That won't be there for the second buttonhole. We'll just go ahead and do all of this. It kind of comes back and down and then back again, and then it'll tack at the top. Just keep your foot on it until it stops, because the auto stop is on. And then when you lift it up, the foot does reset. So make sure you don't do that in the middle of your buttonhole. That way it doesn't reset before you want it to. So this would be the perfect size for the button we put in there. If you want to do it again, all you have to do, note where your starting point is. If you wanted a little thicker, you could shorten the stitch length just a little bit if you want, but if it's the right size, all you have to do is put it in. You got to remember, buttonholes can be used for a lot of other things than just garments. We see them in home dec items. We see them like if you're making a shower curtain and you need the little place for all those rings to go through, or drawstring bags or shorts. There's lots of places you see buttonholes that are just not normal clothing areas. So I would recommend that you would try out the other buttonholes you have built into this machine. And as you can see, once you do one, they're all set to just continue that exact same length as you go. The other thing with buttonholes you probably want to do is put some stabilizer underneath, so some tear away. Usually your project will have had you interface this fabric, so it's a little bit more stable, just to make sure that this runs nice and smooth. But just whatever you do, just always test your buttonholes on the actual fabric you're doing, and then you'll know for sure when you go to your actual project that they're going to turn out perfect. Now, there is a way to do a corded buttonhole, so we're going to do a video on that, and then that way you can see how to make these little zigzags a little bit denser and perfect for fabric that is stretchy.